Johannesburg has once again become the epicenter of political turmoil after President Cyril Ramaphosa finally responded to one of the most explosive challenges to his leadership. For weeks, the nation had been captivated by the fiery rhetoric of outspoken political figure Bheki Mkhwanazi, who not only demanded Ramaphosa's resignation but went as far as calling for his arrest. The streets of Johannesburg buzzed with anticipation long before the president's official address, as citizens across the country waited to see how he would respond to the growing storm surrounding his name. Outside the Parliament building, large crowds of activists, opposition supporters, and loyal members of the African National Congress (ANC) gathered shoulder to shoulder, anxiously awaiting the president's reaction to what many viewed as a direct assault on his credibility, reputation, and authority. Ramaphosa's silence only fueled speculation, and with each passing day, the tension deepened. Political analysts described the situation as the most serious challenge to his leadership since he took office. The controversy began when Mkhwanazi, during a passionate and dramatic session in front of Parliament, accused Ramaphosa of concealing corrupt dealings tied to state funds and suspicious financial transactions during election campaigns, actions that, according to Mkhwanazi, would land any ordinary South African behind bars. Mr. President, your hands are not clean. The people deserve the truth, and until that reality is confronted, you belong behind bars, not in the union buildings, Mkhwanazi declared, leaving the chamber stunned. His statement sent shockwaves through the National Assembly. Furious ANC members shouted him down, while others sat in uneasy silence, their faces marked by disbelief and uncertainty. Within minutes, Mkhwanazi's explosive remarks became breaking news across every major media outlet in the country, leaving millions of South Africans in shock. Social media erupted with outrage as hashtags like #Ramaphosa, #MkhwanaziExposes, and #ANC_Under_Fire trended nationwide. Users debated fiercely whether this was a genuine demand for accountability or merely another episode of political theatrics. For several days, Ramaphosa maintained his silence, refusing to engage publicly with the accusations. Advisors reportedly urged him to remain calm, warning that a hasty reaction might worsen the crisis. Yet, his silence came with its own consequences. It was increasingly interpreted as a sign of guilt. When the president finally addressed the nation from the union buildings, his long-awaited statement was calm but resolute. Ramaphosa denied all allegations, calling Mkhwanazi's accusations a desperate and malicious attempt to destabilize the country. He declared, "Such claims are baseless, irresponsible, and dangerous to our democracy. I will not allow lies to define my presidency, nor will I let political maneuvering destroy the progress we have made as a nation." Emphasizing the rule of law, he insisted that South Africa's judicial processes must be respected and that no individual, regardless of influence or volume, should attempt to impose justice through public opinion. However, instead of calming the nation, his remarks only seemed to widen the divide. Inside the ANC, old party factions began to resurface. Loyalists and longtime members rallied around the president, arguing that he was the target of a smear campaign orchestrated by forces intent on destabilizing the government from within. Yet others remained notably silent, sparking suspicion that some within the ruling party doubted his innocence. Meanwhile, the opposition celebrated Ramaphosa's speech as a political blunder. Rival party leaders seized the opportunity to demand immediate parliamentary inquiries and even criminal investigations. The president cannot hide behind speeches, one opposition leader told reporters. He must face the courts like any other citizen. Across major cities, including Johannesburg, Pretoria, and Cape Town, public frustration reached a boiling point. Protesters flooded the streets carrying signs that read, "No one is above the law," and "We want justice, not excuses." Many South Africans voiced their exhaustion with corruption scandals that have come to define successive governments. "We fight every day against unemployment, crime, and hunger," one protester in front of Luthuli House explained. "And yet, our leaders are accused of stealing millions. If the president is innocent, he should prove it in court. If he's guilty, he belongs in jail. Unmoved by criticism, Mkhwanazi doubled down on his claims. Following his parliamentary outburst, he announced that he would take the matter directly to the Johannesburg High Court, vowing to compel the justice system to act if Parliament failed to do so. The citizens of this country deserve accountable leaders, he declared at a heated press conference. If the president has nothing to hide, let him be tried. Let the courts decide, not political friends, not scripted speeches, not staged press conferences. His words further intensified the public's demand for transparency and accountability, adding new pressure on the ANC leadership. Behind closed doors, anxiety reportedly gripped the upper echelons of the party. Insiders feared that if Mkhwanazi's case gained traction in court, it might expose damaging financial links within the ANC and set off a cascade of new investigations. For President Ramaphosa, the stakes could not be higher. His political survival, and perhaps the unity of the ANC itself, now hangs in the balance. What began as a confrontation between two political figures has transformed into a national reckoning over South Africa's democracy, the integrity of its institutions, and the resilience of its political system. Observers note that the issue extends far beyond one man's guilt or innocence, it reflects a broader erosion of public trust in government. For Ramaphosa, who rose to power promising a new dawn free from corruption, the irony is stark. The very principles on which he built his presidency are now being turned against him. Political commentators warn that unless he manages to clear his name convincingly, his administration could collapse under the mounting weight of scandal. Opposition parties, sensing opportunity, are preparing to capitalize on the crisis in upcoming elections. Within the ANC, whispers of potential leadership changes have begun, with some members discreetly positioning themselves for the possibility of Ramaphosa's downfall. For ordinary South Africans, however, the focus remains on accountability rather than politics. Years of economic hardship, unemployment, and deepening inequality have eroded patience, leaving citizens feeling betrayed and exhausted. The public anger sweeping through the streets signals a population that has grown weary of leaders trading blame while ordinary people struggle to survive. The coming weeks will prove crucial. Will the High Court take up Mkhwanazi's challenge and initiate a formal investigation into the president's finances? Will tangible evidence surface to support the explosive allegations shaking the nation? And most importantly, can Ramaphosa withstand yet another political tempest, or is this the beginning of his political downfall? As the world watches closely, Johannesburg once again finds itself cast as the stage on which South Africa's fate will be decided. On television, across newspapers, and throughout social media, the debate continues, not only over Ramaphosa's future but over the moral direction of an entire nation.